questions then. Is the Enforcement Directorate acting with bias in this case, as the Aam Aadmi Party alleges? Is Arvind Kejriwal being denied his right to liberty? Is it tough simply to get bail under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act? Has this case now become more political than legal? Joining me now, Satyendra Singh, former Deputy Director, the Directorate of Enforcement, Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court, Shazia Ilmi, National Spokesperson, BJP, and Akshay Marathe, National Spokesperson, Aam Aadmi Party. I want to come first to the two experts, starting with you, Sanjay Hegde. I have with me para 28 of the bail order that was given yesterday by the trial court, which seems to suggest the very scenario constrains the court to draw an inference against the investigating agency that it is not acting without bias. So the trial court seems to suggest somewhere that there is an element of bias in the way the Enforcement Directorate has proceeded against Arvind Kejriwal and wants to constantly ensure that he doesn't get bail. Should that have been taken into account by the High Court when they so readily today stepped in and decided to stay that order?
Well, there are two or three questions there. The High Court was sitting during the vacation. It had an appeal before it, and it said that till the appeal was heard, let nothing be precipitated. Mm-hmm. And now, because the hearing went on till 4:30 in the evening on a Friday, it's obvious that the judges wanted to consider their order and dictate an order of some length. So there are administrative problems. So therefore, they've said that they've continued their original order of stay for a couple of days in order to pronounce a judgment. We don't know which way the judgment will go. I'm not taking the stay of the High Court as an indication of what it will ultimately rule in respect of the stay petition. The second part of your question was on the argument of bias on the part of the ED. The trial court was responding to the ED's submission that by the ASG that investigation is an art. Sometimes one accused is given a lollipop of bail and pardon and induced with some assurance to make them tell the story behind the offense. So therefore, what the High Court says is, what the trial court says is that, look, it appears that you are doing a pick and choose. You seem to be inducing people. And so therefore the court says that I pause to consider this argument, which is not a palatable submission. And because if it is so, then any person can be implicated and kept behind the bars by artistically procuring material against him after artistically avoiding withdrawing exculpatory material from the record. So it does appear that the ED's own submissions prompted that finding by the trial court. Yes.
I take your point, and I just thought that might be a good point to go to my guest from the ED. सत्येंद्र सिंह, ये बताइए, ये कहा जा रहा है कि एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट ने बगैर ट्रायल कोर्ट के ऑर्डर पड़े हुए तुरंत आज सुबह गई कि बेल डिनाई करना है, और आम आदमी पार्टी का कहना है कि किसी भी हालत में ईडी नहीं चाहता कि अरविंद केजरीवाल या मोदी सरकार नहीं चाहती कि अरविंद केजरीवाल बाहर निकले. क्या कहेंगे?
राजदीप जी, देखिए, मैं ये जो पॉलिटिकल नैरेटिव की बात नहीं करूंगा. जो लीगल सिस्टम है हमारा, लीगल सिस्टम क्या है? यदि जो एग्रीव्ड पार्टी है वो अपने फर्स्ट इंस्टांस पे, फर्स्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी पे हायर कोर्ट में जाती है कि सामने वाली पार्टी को बेनिफिट नहीं मिले, और यही इसमें हुआ. तो ऐसी कोई अजीब चीज नहीं हुई है. जो लीगल सिस्टम में है उनको बेल दी ट्रायल कोर्ट ने, रात को दी ऑर्डर. ऐसा नहीं है कि बिना ऑर्डर पड़े हाई कोर्ट चले गए.
So, Akshay Marathe, what Satyendra Singh ji is saying is that the ED has every right to oppose this granting of bail that the trial court has given. They are following due process. Immediately, Aam Aadmi Party has already now gone and said that the entire system is biased against us, that there is a determined plot to ensure that Arvind Kejriwal is not allowed on bail. The fact is, this is a process. I know it's tortuous. I know, therefore, for the weekend, Mr. Kejriwal will have to spend his time in jail. But that's the law of the land, not just for Mr. Kejriwal, but for any citizen of this country.
Randeep ji, as the Aam Aadmi of this India, we are used to getting Tariq pe Tariq. It is nothing new. it is only for the khas admis of the BJP that the high courts and the court system is able to give bail very easily. And in fact, we saw very recently that Mr. Yediyurappa was even prevented from being arrested by the courts because he's no Tom, Dick and Harry. He's a former chief minister, apparently. So the law is applied very differently to different people in the system, and that has become amply clear. But let me focus on the important point that we need to talk about today, Rajdeep ji, because for the last 2 years, we have suffered at the hands of a BJP, Enforcement Directorate, court system, even some sections of the media which have maligned the image of the Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal. 4 of our leaders have been in jail in this particular case. And the trial court yesterday completely demolished any iota of the Enforcement Directorate's claims against the Aam Aadmi Party. Why am I saying that? If you look at the order carefully, every single para lays out what are the problems with the Enforcement Directorate. It says that they failed to clarify how much time it is going to need to trace the complete money trail. For 2 years, this investigation has been going on. Arvind Kejriwal ji gets arrested on the eve of the election, but they have no indication that how much longer they are going to need to complete this investigation. So what? He will be in jail forever and ever. How can the country run like this? He's an elected chief minister, elected thrice by the people of Delhi. Then the court says that
Mr. Marathe, if I may stop you for a moment, just to clarify, Mr. Kejriwal has applied for bail to the High Court and to the Supreme Court in the past. The Supreme Court sent him back to the trial court. So it's not as if the legal process is not going on in the country. You're giving the impression almost as if the entire legal process, including the Supreme Court, is subverted. Manish Sisodia, Satyendra Jain, the others who are in jail have all gone through this legal process. Are we saying all the judges are also in some way biased?
Rajiv ji, I was not saying anything against the judges. I was merely making a point about Mr. Yediyurappa's case because it is an important distinction that everybody has to admit. I am not casting aspersions on individual judges. Yeah, but let me make just one quick point before you bring Shazia Ilmi, because this is important. We have been saying from day one, Rajdeep ji, that not a single shred of evidence was found. They did 500 raids against our leaders. Not 1 rupee was recovered from any of our residences, offices, ancestral villages, etc. So how is the Enforcement Directorate able to say that there is a link between some WhatsApp chats that they found and Mr. Arvind Kejriwal? That is the crux of the matter. Okay. The trial court today has admitted that there is no evidence linking Arvind Kejriwal ji, and that's why the ED is so panicked. And I can see why the BJP is so is finding it difficult to digest it, because Arvind Kejriwal coming out of jail before the Delhi election is a major problem for them.
I'll come to that in a moment. What the political implication? Just for a moment to focus on the law. Shazia Ilmi, again, when I look at the observations that were made in the bail order, it's the judge says it seems that the ED also believes that the evidence on record is not sufficient to proceed against the applicant, and it is taking time to procure the same in any manner. Now, clearly the trial court judge, this is the trial court judge.
Yes, and just like you insinuate that there was a tearing hurry on the part of ED to run to High Court to challenge this, what was the tearing hurry for the trial judge and the learned judge on the vacation bench to give this bail? Because according to SV Raju, the documents were not even looked at. The judge found it too much, and if she found the documents, they found the documents too bulky and cumbersome to go through. And
are you also casting aspersions on the judge, ma'am?
So that both sides
are you casting aspersions on the judge?
The documents. Let me finish. Now, I want to finish saying what I'm saying.
Please go ahead.
Because give me as much time.
I will.
And,
don't worry. I will.
And so, yes. We have to divide time equally amongst all. So let's not have rebuttals. Let's not be in such a tearing hurry to keep offering rebuttals. So what was the tearing hurry for the trial court to give this bail? By the same logic, and also without looking at both sides of the argument, especially when the time was asked for, and SV Raju even said, I have to make my argument. The vacation judges, the vacation bench and the judges on it felt that it was too bulky and they don't want to go through that. Surely it is a job of the prosecuting agency to challenge this. If they had not challenged this, if Arvind Kejriwal and his team were distributing laddus today, what would they have said? That there was no case to start with? Why is Manish Sisodia in jail? Why is K. Kavita in jail? What was the role of Vijay Nair? Why were all the phones destroyed? Why was bail denied again and again to Manish Sisodia, not once but many times over? What was the role of Dinesh Arora, Amit Arora, the Hawala operators? What was the role of Reddy's? When you talk about Reddy's, what do they say? Oh, because they became approver, they got bail. How are people made approvers? What is the whole judicial process that is taken into consideration? We all know that. So when you get bail, what do you say? Oh, the court is great. And when the bail is stayed or paused or halted for real reasons as part of the judicial process, what do you say? Oh, BJP government is against us. There is a lot of confusion here which need not be there. And it's totally unwarranted to keep blaming the judges when it suits you and when it doesn't.
No, but you're blaming the trial judge, and they have in the past also questioned the judicial system. The unfortunate part is the judges are also now getting caught in this political tangle. Akshay Marathe, let's be clear. The Supreme Court did not give a clean chit to Mr. Kejriwal even when they gave him a clean interim bail so that he could campaign in the election. At no stage has he got a clean chit. Just as you're saying that the ED has not proved the money trail, you cannot argue it at the moment at least that anyone has given the Chief Minister a clean chit just yet.
Rajiv ji, I want to clarify. I did not raise any aspersions on the High Court judge. I was merely pointing out that there are different systems that work for different people. But let me come to your question specifically. Under the PMLA law, in which Mr. Kejriwal got bailed yesterday by the trial court.
When you say that,
just
one second.
Just a minute. Both of you, ma'am, this is a sensitive matter. Go ahead, Akshay, and then I'll go to Sanjay Hegde. Yes.
Under Section 45 of the PMLA, which granted bail to Arvind Kejriwal ji yesterday, it is a very high bar for getting bail. You only get bail if the judge is convinced that there is no offense made out against you and that the judge thinks that you will not commit an offense if you are let out on bail. So when you have such a high bar for giving bail to someone, that bail can be treated as good as a clean chit. Because the trial has not even come close to starting. Rajdeep ji, unfortunately, our system is so slow. The investigation is on for 2 years.
Yes,
the trial is
and that's why it
probably
can
going
be
to start
challenged.
after several years. So at this stage, what do we have? We only have the bail hearings. The trial has not begun. So on the basis of the bail hearing, if the bail has been granted, how can we not say that the judge has felt convinced that there is no offense made out?
You've made your point, Akshay. I want to ask you, Sanjay Hegde, the point that is being made by Mr. Marathe is that look at Yediyurappa's case. How does he not even get touched or arrested? The fact is it's a very different case. It's not PMLA. But you've got a case of Hemant Soren. He's been trying for bail for months on end. He was jailed in late January. He was not even allowed a break to go and campaign in the election like Arvind Kejriwal was. Manish Sisodia has been in jail in this very case for 15 months. Satyendra Jain for almost 2 years. I mean, is there a worry that you have that every time a political party doesn't get what they would like from the court, immediately questions are raised about the judiciary?
Well, the judiciary can take care of itself.
No, does it have double standards? Does the judiciary also have double standards? Or is the problem with PMLA?
Well, there are many. No, there is certainly a problem with the PMLA because, in effect, it empowers the investigating agency to just throw somebody in jail and then throw away the key and say that no court can give bail. If any court gives bail, it has to come to a prima facie satisfaction that there is no guilt. And they can't arrive at a prima facie satisfaction without a trial. And we will not hold a trial for kingdom come. So that is the real problem. And courts now are looking past the facial averment that, look, you can't grant bail. So that's what has happened in this case. Based on the prosecution's own arguments, the courts have drawn inferences. And on this question about look at the record and this and that, what the trial court records is, although various bulky documents and citations have been filed by both parties, most of which were not even relevant in respect of the present application, but it seems that both parties have filed the same along with detailed arguments with the apprehension as to an order may be passed in favor of the other party. So what the court says is that, look, you can't just keep on indulging in a filibuster so that no effective orders are passed.
That Satyendra Singh is the problem. ED हमेशा कोर्ट के सामने जाता है और कहता है हमें अधिक समय चाहिए, हमें और समय दीजिए, और मामला ऐसे ही टलता जाता है. यही जो दिक्कत है खास करके पीएमएलए को लेकर। एक बार आप पीएमएलए में अरेस्ट हो जाए 6 से 9 महीने आपको लाइफ एंड लिबर्टी मिलती नहीं है। क्या ये कहीं ना कहीं ईडी भी पीएमएलए का दुरुपयोग कर रहा है?
राजदीप जी, यदि ये कहा जाता है कि ट्रायल जल्दी नहीं किया गया, इन्वेस्टिगेशन में लोग कोऑपरेट नहीं करते हैं एक्यूज, और ट्रायल स्टार्ट करने के लिए आप देखिए एविडेंसेस कलेक्ट करने पड़ते हैं, और एविडेंसेस भी ऐसे कलेक्ट करने पड़ते हैं कि ट्रायल के अंदर वो अपनी जगह पे खड़े रहे। तो ये आरोप लगाना कि ईडी जानबूझ के डिले करती है, सरासर गलत है। क्या आप कोई पर्टिकुलर केस में ही करती है? ये आरोप गलत है। देखिए, आप एक और समझे, आपको कि शायद आपको तो राजदीप जी पता होगा कि ईडी की स्ट्रेंथ क्या है। टोटल ईडी की टोटल स्ट्रेंथ है 2000। अब यदि ये कहा जाए कि नहीं साहब गवर्नमेंट को यहाँ बढ़ा के 10,000 कर देने चाहिए, ये डिले हो रहा है, तो देखिए जानबूझ के कुछ भी नहीं किया जा रहा है।
जानबूझ के नहीं किया जा रहा है, लेकिन 2 साल से ज्यादा हो गए हैं। And of course, the trial also has not started. So the questions will be raised. I'm not just saying it's in Arvind Kejriwal's case, but also...
राजदीप जी, एक बात सुने मेरी
जी।
एक्स व्यक्ति को सम्मन दिया जाता है, बुलाया जाता है, वो 1 साल तक अपीयर नहीं होता, कोई ना कोई बहाना करके, और फिर कहता है कि ट्रायल स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ, इन्वेस्टिगेशन कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ। ये डबल स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है तो क्या है? आप बताइए
जी।
या ये राइट है एक्यूज का? मैं मानता हूं अपने आप को डिफेंड करना उसका राइट है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट है, लेकिन ये एक्यूजेशन भी गलत है।
तो आप कह रहे हैं जब अक्यूज बार बार समन्स रिजेक्ट करते हैं तो मामला और टल जाता है। There is the politics involved in this. And remember, I spoke to Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal during the election campaign last month, and I asked him what would happen, particularly with the Delhi elections coming in a few months from now, if he was still lodged in jail at the time. Listen into what he said. 8 महीने में दिल्ली में चुनाव होने हैं। अगर उस चुनाव के समय आप उसी तरह से जेल में रहें, क्या आम आदमी पार्टी इस तरह से लड़ सकती है चुनाव अगर उनका नेता जो है वो जेल में है?
अगर इन्होंने मेरे को दिल्ली के चुनाव में जेल में रखा, बिना प्रचार के 70 की 70 सीट आ जाएंगी, इनको एक भी नहीं मिलेगी। जनता देख रही है, जनता बहुत सियानी है। जब मैं बाहर निकला हूं, जनता में इतना गुस्सा कि ऐसे किसी को भी पकड़ के जेल में डाल देंगे ये।
लेकिन एक मॉरल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं होती
ये
किसी
क्या मॉरल
नेता
रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी?
एक बार अगर आपको जेल में जाना पड़ा है, जब तक आपको बरी नहीं किया जाता तब तक आप नहीं आ सकते।
ये तो जनतंत्र के खिलाफ है। अगर कोई मुख्यमंत्री अभूतपूर्व मैंडेट लेके जीत गया और उसको जेल में डाल के आप उसकी सरकार गिराना चाहते हो, उसको मुख्यमंत्री पद से हटाना चाहते हो, तो मेरे को तो संघर्ष करना चाहिए। मुझे मैदान छोड़ के भागना नहीं चाहिए। मैदान छोड़ के कायर भागते हैं, केजरीवाल नहीं भागता।
शाजिया इल्मी, is there a political angle to all of this? Because the Delhi elections are 7 to 8 months away, and the Aam Aadmi Party believes that the BJP is making every effort to ensure that Arvind Kejriwal does not come out till those elections in February next year.
So Rajdeep, just a reminder, Arvind Kejriwal, who made such a hue and cry and made it out to be that he was the sole pivot on which the entire elections are being held, and that he will be the main contender for Modi. How many seats did he have? 0. Because one seat also, which was held by Rinku, went away to BJP. I mean, he left for BJP. Now, how many seats did he get while he was doing prachar, for which he was treated like a special person? And I find, how many seats did he get? 3, I think, in Punjab.
3.
0 in Delhi. Now, Akshay Marathe talks about Aam Aadmi and all of that. I think this weekend, he will not be able to stay in that Sheesh Mahal. So, he's no Aam Aadmi there, unlike others, and the law will remain the same for everybody. He could very well get bail 2 days later. I mean, but the fact of the matter is that you can't just use judiciary as a punching bag when it suits you and when it doesn't. When actually your stay order is halted, what do you make it out to be about the BJP? When you actually get zamanat or bail, what do you say? You thank the court. It can't work. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
You can't have your cake and eat it too is what Shazia Ilmi says. Akshay Marathe, Shazia Ilmi says you can't have your cake and eat it too. The point is, the Aam Aadmi Party seems to believe that if Mr. Kejriwal is in jail, he seemed to suggest you'll get sympathy, you'll sweep Delhi. The fact is, he came out of jail, campaigned, and you got 0 seats in Delhi. Is there a sense now that the Aam Aadmi Party also is guilty in some way of trying to completely misread how this case is playing out?
Rajiv ji, I want to say that as a citizen of India, it is very disturbing and alarming to me that a young party like Aam Aadmi Party, it is only 10 years old. We have a state government in 2 states. We forayed into Goa, we forayed into Gujarat. We are one of the fastest growing political parties in India. A young party like ours is being strangulated using the institutional strength and might of the Bharatiya Janata Party. And we are not being able to ask the questions to the BJP about why they are doing that. How can we allow the BJP to let go scot-free when they have shown no respect for the democratic institutions in this country? We are a legitimate political party. We are not a terrorist organization. We are a legitimate elected government in Delhi. We are not some kind of pariah organization, but the BJP is going after us as though they should be going after Pakistan and China and, our foreign enemies, but they are incapable of doing that. They are incapable of running this country. They cannot stop paper leaks.
Not really.
They cannot prevent climate change from
we will come to
country.
paper leaks on another day.
All they can do is go after Arvind Kejriwal because they think of him as a threat.
Okay,
you think of Arvind Kejriwal as a threat to the BJP.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Clearly, we hope to see what the court says in a more reasoned order next week. The Delhi High Court has that challenge before it to tell us whether they believe Mr. Kejriwal should be getting bail or not. Is the trial court order acceptable to them or not? But for now, clearly lots of questions will still continue to swirl around in this case. Appreciate my guest joining us.